What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to talk all about the Sinnoh Stone and what evolution you should choose first in Pokemon Go. So basically, a lot of people are kind of curious, well, when I do get the Sinnoh Stone, what am I supposed to do? How do I get it? Which one should I evolve first? And we are going to be answering all of those questions. So the first step, how do you obtain a Sinnoh Stone? As it stands currently in the game, we can only get it through the 7-day research breakthrough task. Once you do that, you will obtain a Sinnoh Stone. Now, something kind of weird about this is not all of the Pokemon that get an evolution in Gen 4 actually are available to use currently. So if we go ahead and take a look at the list, you will see that not all of the Pokemon are currently available. But even though all of them are not available, there is still quite a bit of decisions that we need to make. So because all of the Pokemon are not currently available, we're not sure if they'll get released out into a second wave or just get something done completely different. But if there is an update, just know that I will make a new episode encapsulating everything. But my goal in today's video is to give you the top 3 options as to what we can get right now. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get in to the video. There's definitely an honorable mention option that needs to come up, and that is if you have a shiny variation, why not go ahead and evolve it into its Gen 4 form? For myself, I do have a shiny Murkrow that I want to evolve into Honchkrow, and Honchkrow's actually not that bad of an option, so I'm personally very excited about that. So if you do have any of these options available, I would highly consider you to do that, but of course if you want to, you'll do it anyways. But other than that, if we get into some stats, there is one Pokemon in particular that I think stands out from a defensive standpoint, and that is Togekiss. So Togekiss has the advantage of being basically the best counter to a fighting type. And what do people typically use to take down gyms? Machamps. And because of that, Togekiss is set up to be a great counter to maybe having a Blissey in the gym. Togekiss would be right in that second slot because of the moveset that it has as well, picking up a flying type quick move and a fairy type charge move. It has a double super effective move versus a Machamp and could be a great addition to the gyms. Plus it can be shiny. So if you do have a Togetic ready to go, I would highly recommend you to evolve it into a Togekiss if you are looking for the best gym defender. So now that we know the best gym defender, I think it might make sense to go ahead and knock off a couple of Pokemon on the list that you absolutely need to avoid. And to be honest, there's really not that many of them, but it will be Gliscor, Mismagius, and Dusknoir. These 3 Pokemon don't really have a lot of usability and unfortunately will be Pokédex entries. But hey, if they are one of your favorite Pokemon, by all means go ahead and do it. Now we can go ahead and talk about kind of like a second tier. Could they be useful? Could they not? And probably erring on the side of not. So the first Pokemon in kind of like this, I don't know kind of phase is Magmortar. First off, Magmortar is an incredible model, looks fantastic, has a shiny variant available, so it does have a lot of pluses going for it, but unfortunately it does not have the best charge move available. And because of that, there are still plenty of other Pokemon that outclass it. Flareon, Blaziken, Typhlosion, and then of course the legendary Pokemon like Moltres and Entei. So Magmortar unfortunately isn't really into the top 5, maybe this number 6, number 7 spot, but hey, at the end of the day, if you do enjoy it and you need a new fire type Pokemon, that could be a good option for you. The second Pokemon that I wanted to talk about is Porygon Z. Porygon Z is kind of an interesting option because it does have some really good stats, but with it being a normal type Pokemon, it kind of suffers a little bit of just what the heck do you do with it type syndrome, and unfortunately Porygon 2 also kind of suffered the same fate. But you can learn Hidden Power, so who knows, maybe you could get lucky, get yourself a Grass Hidden Power, and then go for a Grass Hidden Power Solar Beam. It really just depends. It's probably one of the best general Pokemon on this list as far as like general DPS goes, but other than that, I'm not going to recommend you to power it up to get yourself a Porygon Z. We are now down to the final 5 Pokemon, and the next 3 are very close to being viable. They do have some pluses going for them, but I am not going to recommend them as the top 3 options. The first one is Weavile. So Weavile has an amazing set of stats, but unfortunately it will not be number 1 from either the ice typing or from the dark typing. And to be honest, Mewtwo coming in with Ice Beam kind of changes things up a little bit, and we have some future competition coming from Mamoswine whenever that becomes available. So basically from the ice type it's pretty much wrecked, and then from the dark typing it has to go up against Tyranitar and also Honchkrow. Honchkrow is the next Pokemon on this list. It's actually a solid option from the dark typing, but it doesn't outperform Tyranitar, so all of these Pokemon that I'm mentioning now are not going to be propelled to the number 1 spot, and other than that, they don't necessarily take on too much of a role. For instance, I think Tyranitar dark type, people already have a dark type Tyranitar set up, so they're probably going to be like, you know, I don't want to put in this second one to it. The third one that we need to talk about is Electivire. Electivire is very interesting because it did earn the move Wild Charge, and because of that, as you may know, Wild Charge is one of the best electric type moves that you can have in the game, which is why I want to go ahead and put it into the 4th position. It will outperform all of the non-legendary Pokemon, but it is not going to be better than Raikou or Zapdos. But hey, if you join the game a little bit later and don't have yourself a Raikou, this could actually be a solid option for a non-legendary. But keep in mind, there will be another Pokemon known as Magnezone that will be entered into the game hopefully soon, but I do think it will be a little bit lesser than Electivire, which could make it a very good option for you to go ahead and use your Sinnoh Stone on. So now, we are down to the final 2. These are the Pokemon that I highly recommend you to use your Sinnoh Stones on. The first one, Rhyperior. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, why would we use Rhyperior when Rhyperior gets outclassed once again by Tyranitar with the rock typing, and then from the ground typing by Groudon? Well, first things first, because of Tyranitar gaining Smackdown during a community day, if you don't have a Tyranitar to do that, that would actually propel Rhyperior to the number 1 position from a rock type perspective. At least for now, until Rampardos comes in. But in the meantime, it will still be a solid top 3 option, top 4 option, and it is available to you now. Also, there is the added flexibility of having one of the best ground type movesets as well, and sure, it will not be able to outperform Groudon, but Groudon's kind of like on a whole nother level, and it's legendary, so it will be propelled to the number 1 spot from a ground type perspective as a non-legendary, which is why I am recommending you to go ahead and use your Sinnoh Stone on Rhyperior. So now let's go ahead and talk about the last one, and this is one that I do think a lot of people might actually overlook, and that is Rosa Raid. So Rosa Raid kind of coming out in left field. First things first though, it does have an incredible set of stats, and it has some stats to rival some of the best grass type attackers such as Venusaur, such as Sceptile, and of course a couple of other ones like maybe Exeggutor for instance. But basically because of the stats, you have Rosa Raid coming in out of left field, and if you check out some raid results, you will see that in some cases Rosa Raid actually gets propelled to the number 1 grass type standpoint. Yes, using that solar beam, it didn't get held back from the moveset. So you have a Pokemon that takes on the number 1 spot from that grass typing. It's also a solid poison type attacker, and beyond that, it also has a shiny variant available. So what more could you ask for? A meta-relevant Pokemon, a shiny variant available. I personally think that Rosa Raid could be one of the best options that you could go ahead and use your Sinnoh Stone on. So that just about wraps up the video. I hope you did enjoy this. Hopefully it does help you to decide which one you want to go ahead and evolve first. So that is actually going to be the question of the day. Which Pokemon do you plan on evolving first? And if you already have done it, which Pokemon did you choose? And hey, what's going to be your next one? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And for old time's sake, let's go ahead and hit it like a tidal wave. Hit me like a tidal wave. Ooh, triggered by the aftershock. Hit me like a tidal wave. I can't hit these high notes. How does he do this? This is impossible. I give up.